Hi everyone, in this lesson we're going to review some rules of exponents. I'm going to try to go through this pretty quickly because you guys should already know a lot of this stuff. So let's go ahead and get to some examples. So first one is product of powers, and you're going to recognize this from Algebra 1. You may have even used these notes last year. But when you're multiplying exponents, you add the bases. So for example, if the bases are the same, this would be 5 to the 8th power. Here, you would multiply the 6 and the 7, so that would be 42. And then the y's would be y to the 6th power because you add 5 and 1. This one you have -3 and 5, which is -15. And then you would have x to the 3rd power and y to the 13th. Okay, and when you divide, you subtract the exponent. So like this one would be y to the 5th power. I like to also think about it as like reducing, like if I have one y down here, then I'm going to only have 5 y's up here. So this would be 6 to the 11th power. This one, if the coefficients don't divide evenly, then you would keep it as a fraction. So here I'm going to have 10 over 15 would be 2/3, and then if I have 5 a's down here and 7 a's up here, then I'm only going to have 2 a's up in the numerator left over, so a to the 2nd, and then my b's cancel. So it's really just 2/3 a to the 2nd for that one. Okay, and then remember that anything to the 0 power is 1. Okay, so because if you've got this and you use the subtraction rule, you have a to the 0 power, but if you expand it, then you have 8 times 8 over 8 times 8, which simplifies to 1. So this would be just 1. This would be 8 times 1 plus 5, which is just 13. Okay, and then for negative exponents. So remember the negative exponents, you have to take the reciprocal. So here, if I had this, if I use the subtraction rule, I would have b to the -3rd. If I use the simplifying rule, I would have these b's cancel with 2 b's down here, and I have 3 b's left in the denominator. So that means anytime you have a negative exponent, you have to rewrite it as a positive exponent by flipping it. All right, so this would be 1 over 2 to the 3rd, which is 1 over 8. And then this would be 1 over -3 to the 3rd, which would be 1 over -27. If you have an even exponent, then the negative cancels. Power to a power, you multiply. So this would be x to the 16th. This would be y to the +12th because you have 2 negatives. And then if you power to a product, you distribute the exponent as long as there's not plus or minus inside the parentheses. If you're just multiplying what's in the parentheses and you distribute. So like this would be 4 to the 3rd. This would be x to the 9th because we're multiplying the powers. And this would be y to the 3rd, z to the 3rd. 4 to the 3rd power is 64. So 64, x to the 9th, y to the 3rd, z to the 3rd. Here, what I would do first is go ahead and flip it. So I would do 1 because of this negative exponent. I would do 1 over 7x, y to the -2nd squared. Now notice that when I flip it, I'm only changing this exponent sign. I don't change this exponent sign because that's in the parentheses. Okay, then I go ahead and distribute. So this would be 1 over 49 x squared, y to the -4th. Now I move this up to the numerator. So this would be y to the 4th over 49 x squared. Okay, no, never mind. Okay, for this one, you would, let's see, for this one, I'll go ahead and flip it first. So I'll do 1 over 6x to the -6, y to the -7th, z to the 0 is just 1, so I don't need to write that, squared. So now I'll have 1 over 6 squared is 36. Now for these ones, I actually know that when I distribute the square, they're actually going to go in the numerator because they're negative exponents. So now I'm going to have x to the 12th and y to this is a 7, to the 14th up in the numerator. So that would be my final answer for that one. Okay, hopefully we're not going too fast, but I think you'll be okay. Okay, for quotient powers, pretty much the same thing. So distribute the square into each part of the fraction. So this would be 9 over 25. This one, you would do 2 squared. A lot of people forget to do 2 squared. So that would be 4a to the 10th over b to the 14th. And then this one here, I'm going to go ahead and distribute the 3 and then take care of the negative exponent. Or you could do that first if you wanted. So I would have 3 to the 3rd, which is 27, a to the negative 12th over b to the 21st. And then I'm going to take the a and move it to the denominator. So I've got 27 over a to the 12th times b to the 21st. Okay, for this one, when I distribute the negative exponent into each of these, all of the negatives are going to go away. So we'll have a to the 12th, b to the 30th, because we're multiplying the exponents, over c to the 66th power. Okay, so that's all. There are lots of examples in the Edulastic that go from pretty easy and basic to more complicated, but I think this gives you enough to review the rules of exponents. And I hope you enjoyed this short video. Hope you guys have a great day.